Commander Juwu Park felt the hot desert wind against her face as she stood at the edge of the massive hole in the Atacama Desert. The dig site stretched for miles, with hundreds of workers carefully removing sand and rock. Juwu had been stationed here for 3 months, overseeing the military security of what had started as a routine archaeological expedition. The discovery happened by accident. Dr. Minji Choi had been mapping underground water sources when his ground-penetrating radar picked up something impossible, a perfectly smooth, curved surface buried deep below the desert. At first, everyone thought it was a computer error. "Commander, you need to see this," called Yoonji Kim, the lead engineer. Juwu walked carefully down the sandy slope to where Yoonji stood next to a newly uncovered section of the object. The surface was metallic and silver gray, without a single scratch despite being buried for who knows how long. It reflected the harsh desert sun with an almost liquid shimmer. Most strangely, it was cool to the touch despite the blistering heat. "We've found something," Yoonji said, pointing to a series of markings that looked like writing. "It might be some kind of control panel." Scientists from 27 countries worked together, trying to understand the markings. After weeks of study, Dr. Chunho Lee discovered a pattern. When he pressed the symbols in a certain order, the entire section of exposed metal began to hum. "Step back," Juwu ordered, pulling her gun. The security team formed a protective circle around the scientists. The humming grew louder. Lights flickered beneath the surface of the metal, patterns racing along what they now understood was just a tiny portion of something massive. Something that had been sleeping beneath their feet for thousands, maybe millions of years. "It's powering up," whispered Dr. Lee in awe. Within hours, the news had spread worldwide. Presidents and prime ministers held emergency meetings. The United Nations Security Council gathered. Military forces from around the world converged on the Atacama. 3 days later, as more of the object was uncovered, their worst fears and greatest hopes were confirmed. This was no natural formation. This was technology, a vehicle or vessel of some kind, and it was alien. "The size calculations are impossible," Dr. Choi explained during a briefing. "Based on the curvature, this object is at least 300 kilometers in diameter. It's the size of a small country, buried beneath us." That night, as Juwu sat in her temporary office reviewing security protocols, every communication device on the base activated simultaneously. A strange, rhythmic sound pulsed from phones, radios, computers, and even the base's weather station. The same signal was reported worldwide. "It's broadcasting," Dr. Lee confirmed, "sending a message into space." 6 weeks later, humanity got its answer. The ship appeared in orbit without warning. One moment Earth's space telescopes saw empty space, the next a vessel hung above them, sleek and impossibly large. No rocket engines, no heat signature, no sign of how it traveled or slowed down. When the communication came, it was in perfect English, Mandarin, Russian, Arabic, Spanish, somehow transmitted directly to all major broadcast systems worldwide simultaneously. "People of Earth, we are the Galactic Concord. We have received the activation signal of a Titan-class vessel and come to investigate." After millennia of silence, the Precursor's legacy awakens. The alien that stepped from the shuttle that landed at the dig site was nothing like the little green men of human imagination. Ambassador Tejo stood nearly 3 meters tall, with mottled blue-green skin and 4 arms. His eyes were wide-set and golden, and he moved with a strange, flowing grace despite Earth's gravity. "Your species has accomplished what none other has managed in 50,000 years," Tahoe told the hastily assembled delegation of Earth's leaders. "You have awakened a titanship. This changes everything." The ambassador explained that the Galactic Concord included 342 spacefaring species from across the Milky Way. They had long known about Earth but considered humans too primitive for contact. The mysterious precursors had built the Titan ships millions of years ago before vanishing from the galaxy. Every known civilization had tried and failed to activate the ships they sometimes found buried on planets or drifting in deep space. Yet you humans, with your limited technology, have succeeded where all others failed, Tahoe said. The ship responded to your touch. This suggests a connection between your species and the precursors that defies explanation. News of Earth's discovery spread across the galaxy. Some alien species demanded immediate action against the humans. Others wished to study this surprising development. Still others sought alliances with Earth, seeing potential in humanity that had gone unnoticed. As the sun set over the Atacama that evening, Ju looked up at the stars with new eyes. Their world had changed forever. Humanity was no longer alone, and their future had suddenly become much bigger and much more dangerous. The sleek silver ship of the Galactic Concorde hovered above the United Nations headquarters in New York. It had been 3 days since Ambassador Tahoe arrived on Earth, and the world was still adjusting to the reality of alien contact. Today, leaders from every nation gathered to hear what the Concorde had to say about the massive ship buried beneath the Atacama Desert. Sun Wukong, the newly appointed human representative, fidgeted with his tie as he waited in the anteroom. 6 months ago, he had been a mid-level diplomat working on trade agreements. Now he represented all of humanity to an interstellar civilization. "They're ready for us," said Ju Park, entering the room. The commander looked different in her formal uniform, all sharp lines and polished buttons. "Remember, stay calm no matter what they say." The assembly hall fell silent as Sunwoo and Ju entered behind Ambassador Tahoe. The alien's 4 arms moved in gentle patterns as he walked, almost like he was swimming through air. Tahoe stepped to the center of the circular stage. His voice needed no microphone, somehow reaching every corner of the vast room with perfect clarity. "People of Earth, what you have uncovered in your desert is not merely an artifact. It is a Titan-class vessel, one of the most powerful machines ever created in our galaxy's history." Screens around the hall lit up, showing images of other massive ships, some buried in mountains, others half submerged in alien oceans, one embedded in the core of a small moon. For over 50,000 years, the Galactic Concorde has studied these ships left behind by the precursors. We have mapped their locations, analyzed their materials, and attempted to activate their systems. In all that time, across all our species, we have never succeeded in bringing one to life. Tahoe's golden eyes swept across the human audience. "Until now. Until you." Murmurs swept through the crowd. Sunwoo felt a chill run down his spine. "The signal your desert ship sent reached 19 Concorde worlds," continued Tahoe. "Within hours, emergency councils formed. Within days, our fastest ships were dispatched to your system. I will be honest, some wanted to destroy your planet immediately." Gasps and shouts erupted from the audience. Security forces tensed. Tahoe raised all 4 hands for silence. That option was rejected. "But you must understand, your species was considered primitive, barely worth monitoring. Now you control technology that the oldest civilizations in our Concorde have coveted for millennia." Jian Ryu, Earth's Secretary General, stepped forward. "Ambassador, why can humans activate this technology when other species cannot?" "That is the question that saved your world," Tahoe replied. "The mystery was too valuable to destroy. Our scientists have theories. Perhaps your DNA contains precursor markers. Perhaps your brainwave patterns match theirs. Or perhaps the precursors chose your world specifically as a safe house for their technology." A new alien emerged from behind Tahoe. Where the ambassador was tall and slender, this creature was short and round, with skin like polished copper. "This is Science Director Minji," said Tahoe. "She will explain more." The copper-skinned alien hobbled forward. Her voice was higher, almost musical. "The precursors vanished 20 million years ago," she explained. "They left behind marvels like the Titan ships, but no records of who they were or why they disappeared. These ships are planetary in scale, capable of faster-than-light travel, and possess weapons that could destroy stars. Images appeared on screen of calculations and simulations showing a planet-sized ship firing a beam that caused a sun to collapse. For ages, the ships have been inert, dead relics. Then your signal reached us, the command codes of a Titan awakening. The room fell silent again. 7 major alliances exist within the Concord, continued Minji. The Ulurin cluster believes humans should be quarantined, the ship taken for safekeeping. The Dorvan Exchange wishes to establish trade agreements, offering technology in exchange for access to the Titan. The Helix worlds propose humanity join the Concord immediately, under their protection, of course. And what does Earth get in return for cooperation? Asked Joyen. Survival, answered Tahoe bluntly. The galaxy was stable. Your discovery has changed that. Already, some groups move to secure their interests. They will come whether invited or not. As the meeting continued into the night, Sunwoo found himself in a small side room with Juwoo and a handful of world leaders. A holographic map showed hundreds of ships converging on the solar system. They're coming faster than anticipated, said President Juno. What do we do? Juwoo pointed to the desert, where more of the Titan ship was being uncovered each day. We need to learn how to use our new ship. Fast. That night, as Sunwoo looked up at the stars from his apartment window, he counted 7 new lights that hadn't been there before. Alien ships entering orbit. He wondered how many were friends, how many were enemies, and how humanity would survive being thrust suddenly onto a galactic stage they never knew existed. The age of human isolation had ended. The age of galactic politics had begun. Dr. Hyun Kim hadn't slept in 3 days. The dark circles under her eyes told the story of her exhaustion, but she couldn't stop now. Not when they were so close to understanding. Look at this pattern, she said, pointing to the holographic display floating above the control panel they'd uncovered in the Atacama ship. It repeats exactly 6 times around the main interface. Her assistant, Junho Lee, nodded slowly. 6 other ships. That's my guess, said Hyun. She touched the glowing symbol that looked like a mountain range. As her finger made contact, the entire chamber hummed, and new lights flickered to life across the massive wall. A 3-dimensional map of Earth appeared, floating in the air. 7 points glowed on its surface: the Atacama Desert, the Mariana Trench beneath Mount Kilimanjaro, under the ice of Antarctica, the Gobi Desert, the Amazon rainforest, and deep below the North Sea. They're everywhere, whispered Juno. Within hours, the news had spread. Teams raced to the other locations, guided by the map's precise coordinates. At each site, they found entrances, ancient pathways leading deep into the Earth toward more buried ships. 3 days later, as teams at all 7 sites pushed deeper into the Earth, the first tremors began. Magnitude 5.7 in Tanzania, reported Commander Juwoo Park during the emergency meeting. 4.9 near the Amazon site. Seismic activity is increasing at all locations. Dr. Hyun Kim looked tired but excited. It's not an earthquake. The ships are moving. Satellite images confirmed her theory. The ground around each site was shifting, cracking open as something massive stirred beneath. In the Atacama, a crater 5 kilometers wide had formed as the desert floor sank downward, revealing more of the gleaming ship beneath. We need to stop this, said a representative from the United Nations. These vessels could tear our planet apart as they emerge. We might not be able to stop it, countered Hyun. The awakening process began when we activated the first ship. The system is designed to bring all 7 online. That night, as debates raged in government halls worldwide, Hyun made a discovery that changed everything. Deep within the ship's memory banks, she found something unexpected: human DNA sequences encoded into the operating system. This is impossible, she told Juwoo when the commander arrived at her lab. This ship contains perfect copies of human genetic code, not just any human. Thousands of specific patterns from different ethnic groups, regions, bloodlines. What does it mean? Asked Juwoo. It means these ships weren't just left here. They were left here for us, specifically for humans. Ambassador Tejo confirmed their suspicions the next day. The tall alien's usually calm demeanor seemed shaken. The Concord Science Directorate has analyzed your findings, he told the Emergency Council. We must accept a truth that rewrites our understanding of this galaxy's history. Earth was engineered by the precursors. Stunned silence filled the room. Your planet's unusual stability, its perfect conditions for life, the rapid evolution of intelligent species, none of this was accidental. The precursors created Earth as an incubator, both for humanity and for these 7 vessels. Outside, the tremors continued. News channels showed footage from around the world, massive cracks forming in the Antarctic ice, the sea boiling above the Mariana Trench, a section of the Amazon canopy rising as something pushed up from below. We have a choice, said Hyun to the world leaders gathered in emergency session. We can try to halt the awakening, which might damage the ships and cause even greater geological instability, or we can allow the process to complete. And if we let these things fully emerge, asked President Min Hee-kang. Then Earth will change, said Hyun simply. These vessels are part of our planet's structure now. Their removal will reshape continents, change coastlines, alter our world permanently. The vote was close, but in the end, humanity chose to embrace its destiny. Military forces evacuated coastal regions and areas near the emergent sites. Millions moved to safe zones as the tremors grew stronger. 1 week later, as dawn broke over the Pacific, the first ship rose. It emerged from the Mariana Trench, water cascading from its massive form as it lifted into the sky. Larger than any city, it hovered above the ocean, glowing with internal lights. By sunset, all 7 had emerged, planet-sized vessels hovering above their emergence points, connected to Earth by beams of energy that pulsed with power. The Titan fleet awakens, announced Tahoe to the watching world. And with it, humanity's true purpose in this galaxy begins to reveal itself. That night, as Hyun stood on the observation deck watching the Atacama vessel floating above the desert, she felt something she hadn't expected. Not fear, but a strange sense of homecoming. As if humanity had finally found the path they were always meant to follow. What happens now? Asked Ju, standing beside her. Hyun looked up at the stars. Now we learn who we really are. Admiral Jo Lee stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Force flagship, a vessel that hadn't existed 3 months ago. Through the viewscreen, he watched alien ships circling Earth like hungry wolves. 57 vessels from 12 different species, each with their own agenda. Admiral, the Vrol battle group has changed position again, reported Captain Mina Park. They've moved to high orbit over North America. Jiho nodded grimly. The Vrol Imperium was the most aggressive of the alien factions that had arrived after the Titan ships awakened. Massive and heavily armed, their vessels bristled with weapons. Keep our defense grid powered, he ordered, but no provocative actions. 3 months had transformed humanity. The Titan ships, now hovering in formation around Earth, had shared their technology freely. Humans learned in weeks what might have taken centuries to discover. New materials, energy systems, medical advances, and of course, weapons. Jiho's communicator chimed. Admiral, your presence is requested at the diplomatic meeting. In the Grand Chamber aboard Titan 1, representatives from 17 galactic powers sat around a circular table. The room itself was a marvel walls that shifted color with the emotional tone of the conversation, chairs that adjusted perfectly to each species' biology, and translation systems that made communication effortless. Ambassador Tahoe of the Galactic Concord was speaking as Jiho entered. The Concord maintains that Earth should be granted full membership and protection under our charter. The Vrol representative slammed his armored fist on the table. Sung-ho was nearly 3 meters tall, with gray skin like polished stone and eyes that glowed red when angry. Unacceptable. These primitives cannot be trusted with precursor technology. The Titan vessels must be surrendered to proper authority. And who decides what is proper authority? asked Jiho, taking his seat. The Vrol, who have conquered 6 systems in the past century. Sungo growled, a sound like grinding rocks. We bring order to chaos. Your species has barely mastered basic spaceflight, yet you control the most powerful weapons in the galaxy. The representative from the Haya Collective, a being of living crystal named Doyen, chimed in. The Vrol speak harshly, but raise valid concerns. Humanity is young, impulsive. The Titans are dangerous in untested hands. Yet they respond to no hands but ours, countered Jiho. That was the Precursor's choice, not ours. The meeting continued for hours, offers and threats exchanged in equal measure. The Eridani Li promised advanced biotechnology in exchange for shared stewardship of 2 Titans. The Mira Syndicate offered star maps and trade routes for research access. The Vrol simply demanded surrender, thinly veiled behind diplomatic language. As Jiho left the chamber, a small alien pulled him aside. Yunji had 4 eyes and skin that shifted colors with her mood. She represented the Tolosi, a species known for information trading. Admiral Li, we must speak privately, she whispered, her skin turning a worried purple. Not everything is as it seems. In a secure room, Yunji showed him data crystals. These come from the Concord's sealed archives. Information they don't want public. The crystals contain star charts showing a region at the galaxy's edge, marked with warning symbols. Historical records documented a conflict 20 million years ago, the same period when the Precursors vanished. The Precursors didn't just disappear, explained Yunji. They sacrificed themselves fighting something the records call the Void Leviathan, a consciousness that consumes entire civilizations. The Concord has known for centuries that this entity was only contained, not destroyed. Jiho felt cold. And now it's waking up. The 7 Titans were never meant to be warships against other species, continued Yunji. They were built as a final defense line against the Leviathan's return. The Precursors encoded them to human DNA because they engineered your species specifically for this purpose. Back on his ship, Jiho reviewed military reports. The Vrol fleet had grown to 30 vessels. Intelligence suggested they were preparing to seize the Titans by force rather than continue fruitless negotiations. Sir, said Captain Park, we're detecting energy signatures consistent with weapons charging on the Vrol command ship. Before Jiho could respond, alarms blared. At the edge of the solar system, space itself seemed to tear open. A massive vessel emerged, unlike anything in Concord records. It was a Vrol dreadnought, their most powerful warship, rarely seen outside their home systems. They're not waiting for diplomacy, Jiho realized. This is an invasion force. Emergency meetings convened worldwide. Earth's leaders faced an impossible choice: surrender the Titans to prevent war with the Vrul, or fight to keep the very ships that might be humanity's true purpose in the galaxy. As the massive alien dreadnought approached Earth, Jiho received an unexpected message from Titan 1. The ship itself was communicating directly with him, showing tactical displays and defense systems he hadn't known existed. The ships are choosing sides, he told President Minnie. They're with us. That night, as Earth prepared for possible war, Jiho looked out at the Titan vessels glowing against the night sky. Humanity had been thrust into galactic politics before they were ready, but perhaps that had always been the plan. The coming conflict would not just be for control of 7 ships, but for the very future of the galaxy itself. The Vrol attack came at dawn. Hundreds of missiles streaked toward Earth, their warheads powerful enough to crack continents. Captain Doyen Kang watched from the command center of Titan 1, now named Earthrise by its human crew. Defensive shield at full power, reported his second-in-command, Soyen Han. The other Titans are in position. Do-Yun nodded calmly, though his heart raced. Just 6 months ago, he had been a commercial airline pilot. Now he commanded a planet-sized vessel in humanity's first interstellar war. The Titan ships moved in perfect formation, creating a protective bubble around Earth. The Vrol missiles exploded harmlessly against their shields. But this was just the beginning. "The Vrol dreadnought is launching fighter craft," said Soyan. "Hundreds of them." Do-Yun touched the control panel, connecting his mind directly to Earthrise's systems. The ship had taught them this trick 2 months ago. A neural interface that allowed humans to control the vast vessels with thought alone. It felt like becoming a giant, with the ship as his body. "All Titans, prepare jump sequence," he ordered. "We take this fight away from Earth." In a flash of light that temporarily blinded orbital telescopes, the 7 Titan ships vanished from Earth orbit, reappearing near Jupiter. The Vrol fleet followed, exactly as Do-Yun had planned. "They took the bait," he said. "Now we show them what these ships can really do." The battle around Jupiter was unlike anything in human history. The gas giant's massive gravity became a weapon in human hands, with Titan ships using it to sling asteroids at incredible speeds. The Vrol expected conventional warfare, but humans fought differently. While 5 Titans engaged the Vrol fleet directly, Do-Yun positioned Earthrise and 1 other ship at precise points around Jupiter. Energy beams connected the 2 vessels, creating a net that caught Vrol ships and disrupted their engines. "The precursor archives mentioned this technique," said Do-Yun to his crew, "but the Concord species never attempted it. They thought it was too risky." As the battle raged, something unexpected happened. Deep in Earthrise's central chamber, a hologram activated. A recording not seen for 20 million years. A tall, elegant being appeared, clearly a precursor. Its voice resonated through the ship in perfect human language. "If you witness this message, then our plan has succeeded. You are the inheritors we created, the guardians who will finish what we could not." The message played on all 7 Titans simultaneously, on Earth, in ships, on view screens worldwide. Humanity learned the truth. "We engineered your world, seeded your ancestors, and guided your evolution from afar," continued the precursor. "Not as servants or subjects, but as successors. We built the Titans and encoded them to your DNA because you possess qualities we lacked: adaptability, creativity, and most importantly, the will to survive against impossible odds." The hologram showed images of a terrible darkness spreading across the galaxy, consuming stars and civilizations. The Void Leviathan, a consciousness of pure entropy that fed on life itself. "We contained the Leviathan at great cost, imprisoning it at the galaxy's edge. But our calculations show it will eventually break free. The Titans were built as the final defense, a network that, when fully activated, can seal the breach permanently." As the message played, the Vrol dreadnought launched a desperate attack on Earthrise. Do-Yun felt the impact through his neural link. "Shield integrity at 40%, warned Soyan. Do-Yun made a decision that would change galactic history. He activated a system the precursors had labeled Unity Cascade, something no human had tried before. All 7 Titans synchronized their energy cores, creating a pulsing web of force that enveloped the Vrol fleet. Their weapons stopped firing. Their engines ceased functioning. In moments, the mighty armada hung helpless in space. "This is Captain Do-Yun Kang of Earth," he broadcast on all frequencies. "The battle is over. We have no desire to destroy your ships or take your lives. But understand this: humanity will not surrender the Titans. We cannot. They are our inheritance and our responsibility." The Vrol commander, face grim on the view screen, gave the order to stand down. The invasion had failed. 3 weeks later, representatives from across the galaxy gathered on Earthrise to sign the Jupiter Accords. Earth was recognized as a sovereign power, and humanity's role as guardians of the Titan vessels was formally acknowledged. The precursors chose well, Ambassador Teho told Do-Yun after the ceremony. "When the Leviathan stirs again, the galaxy will need humans." That night, as Earthrise orbited slowly around Jupiter, Do-Yun stood at the observation deck, looking out at the stars. The ship hummed beneath his feet, alive with power and purpose. "Ready to head home?" asked Admiral Geo, joining him. Do-Yun shook his head slowly. I was thinking about what's out there. The Leviathan is still waiting at the edge of the galaxy. Sooner or later, we'll have to face it. One battle at a time, said Geo. Today, we earned our place among the stars. Do-hyun nodded. Humanity had survived its first galactic war. The greater challenge, fulfilling their true purpose as the precursor's chosen guardians, still lay ahead. But for the first time since the Titans awakened, he felt certain they would be ready when that day came.